Hello, everyone. My research paper was centered around STEM education. It is titled STEM Instruction in 7th Grade Science, an action research study of student performance. I found a quote that seems to give a good definition of what STEM education entails. It is an interdisciplinary approach to learning where rigorous academic concepts are coupled with real-world lessons as students apply science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in contexts that make connections between school, community, work, and the local enterprise, enabling the development of STEM literacy and with it, the ability to compete in the new economy. A lot of research that I did shows that students learn best when they are engaged and encouraged to construct their own knowledge of the world around them. Research in project-based learning, or PBL, shows that when students complete projects, it increases their interest in science, technology, engineering, and math because the students are involved in problem solving, collaboration, and building real-world solutions to problems. The United States has been known to be behind other countries in many areas, specifically mathematics and science. The National Research Council has statistics to show that this generation of students is not prepared for the future. There needs to be some educational reform in which students are able to reach the level they need to be in these areas in order to compete with other countries. The problem that brought me to this research was just that. Student achievement in the United States is an area of concern for many people, including parents, teachers, and the students themselves. Over the last several years, the achievement gap has gotten worse between the US and other countries in the areas of math and science. There are higher expectations and standards for college and career readiness, and many students are not meeting those expectations. In order to solve this problem, I am looking for a way to prepare the students better for their postgraduate goals, whether it be college or a career. STEM education is a way to provide students with the 21st century skills in the areas of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics that they will need in order to be successful. The purpose of my study was to determine if using STEM instruction and learning projects would help increase student performance. Educators need to find an answer to the decline in academic achievement, which might include changing our teaching styles. The research question for my study was, is there a difference in 7th grade students' science test grades when learning via STEM instruction as compared to traditional instruction? The research I conducted was a quantitative study using a categorical independent variable and a numerical dependent variable. The independent variable, or the variable that was manipulated in this study, was the type of instruction. One group of students received STEM instruction, and they were considered the test group, while the other group, which was considered the control group, received traditional instruction. When I say STEM instruction, I mean that the students are taught the same standards, just using cross-curricular problem solving, teamwork, and creative thinking, along with real-world applications. The traditional instruction consists of teaching all students in the same manner using lectures, note-taking, and worksheets. The dependent variable, or the variable that I measured, was the test scores on a post-assessment at the end of the unit. The average scores for each group were compared. I used two non-equivalent groups for this study. The reason the groups were non-equivalent is that they were not the same in regards to their starting achievement levels, the number of males and females, and the number of students in general. The classes that I chose were the only two 7th grade courses that I taught this year, and the students were randomly placed into those classes at the beginning of the year. This is a quasi-experiment that examines a cause and effect relationship between the type of instruction and student test scores. The results from the group of students exposed to the new type of instruction were compared to the results of the group that was not exposed to the new type of instruction. As you can see in this chart, I have shown that Class 1 consisted of 22 students, 45% male, 55% female, and it was not ethnically diverse. And the control group, class number 2, had 23 students, 48% male, 52% female, and again, no ethnic diversity there either. The sample of students that participated in the study were 45 7th grade students from 2 different classes. Their ages ranged from 12 to 14 years old. This is a type of convenience sampling due to the classes being chosen because they are the only 7th grade students that I taught this year. The sampling was purposeful because these are the students that are affected by changes in instruction type. The instrumentation used to measure the results was an achievement test. The achievement test took place on the last day of the 10-day unit and consisted of 30 multiple choice questions. The questions came from the next generation science standards dealing with the water cycle. At the beginning of the study, I provided both classes with the same learning objective. The classes met with me for 50 minutes a day for 10 days. Throughout the 10-day unit, the test group, or Class 1, was taught using STEM instruction methods. These methods included station work, labs, demonstrations, and a final project in which they had to create a working model of the water cycle on Earth. The control group, or Class 2, was given PowerPoints and were asked to take notes on what they thought was important throughout the unit. The PowerPoints were also accompanied by class discussions and worksheets. On the last day of the unit, the students completed the achievement test, which consisted of 30 multiple choice questions. The tests were scored and each class was compared. This is a table showing the results from each class. Class 1, which was the test group receiving STEM instruction, scored an average of 26.36 questions correct out of 30. The class average was an 86.67%. Class 2, which was the control group receiving traditional instruction, scored an average of 23.43 questions correct out of 30. The average for Class 2 was 78.11%. Overall, the results show that 7th grade science students who were exposed to STEM instructional methods scored better on the end of unit assessment than the students who were taught using traditional instruction methods. There was a very similar study done in 2017 that showed similar results, where STEM instruction yielded a better average. Some threats to the internal validity of this study include history and maturation. During the 10-day unit, there was a fire drill during one of the class periods that I was teaching. This could have had an effect on the scores due to losing 20 minutes of instructional time. When it comes to maturation, the second class that I taught, which was the control group, took place during 7th period. This class might have been affected by being tired at the end of the day and not really putting forth their full potential. Externally, this study is limited because the results came from a population of only 45 students. It will be hard to generalize the results to a larger population. In the future, I would like to compare multiple units using this technique, or even throughout an entire school year. I would also like to use a larger population with more ethnic diversity to see if this applies to a larger general population. I plan to continue to use STEM instruction in my classroom in the hopes of getting higher student performance and preparing them for the future. I have created many STEM units in my project that I plan to use with both 7th and 8th grade students. I would like to further study the different types of STEM instruction to determine which methods are most beneficial to student learning. I found that this research project was helpful to my teaching practice and has provided me with a great deal of information to use in my classroom. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my presentation.